And loosely translated, Sarah Vial's poem reads, "I am the albatross that awaits you at the end of the world. I am the forgotten spirit of the mariners who died in rounding the Cape on their journeys from all the oceans of the world. But they did not die in these furious waves, and today they fly on my wings towards eternity in the last cry of the Antarctic winds."
Meet me there. This series is all about the off-the-beaten-path travel, and I am about as off-the-beaten-path as I have ever been in my entire life, right here in Antarctica. This trip with National Geographic Lindblad Expeditions and Exclusive Resorts is truly a trip of a lifetime. It's about the whales, the penguins, and the seals. Take a look. We get off the Orion, into the Zodiacs, and over onto our first island in Antarctica. And my first thought was, where's all the snow? It was a little muddy, but nonetheless, we were welcomed by some gentoo penguins and chinstrap penguins and the elephant seals, which I actually didn't even notice until I was getting ready to come back. These guys and gals are huge. Now, one thing that penguins have to be aware of are the skuas that try to, of course, eat the chicks and snatch their eggs. Little did I know, I get back, look at the photo, and I caught this bird in full flight with this huge penguin egg in its mouth. The Antarctica Marine Voyage came together through a partnership of Lindblad, National Geographic, and Exclusive Resorts. This trip has been chock full of educational talks and opportunities. I've learned a ton about penguins and icebergs and glaciers and the water and the underwater life here with the scuba divers on board, as well as all sorts of really technical and really super simple photography tips too. When you're on a Zodiac with a National Geographic photographer like Ralph Lee, all you really have to do is just point your camera in the direction of whatever jumps up out of the water, and most likely you're gonna get a really good image. We were really close to several humpback whales that were feeding on krill and got some amazing shots of fluke, and I even captured one of the humpback whale coming up out of the water, got a picture of its mouth, which I didn't even think I caught until I actually got back and checked it out on my computer. And after we chased these humpback whales all through Paradise Harbor, to top it off, we saw a leopard seal. What a day. So we saw humpback whales, some minke whales, and even some killer whales. And this is the beauty of an expedition and being on a ship just like the Orion. If the captain spots it, we can slow down, we can veer off one direction or the other and wait until they come up. And we got some fantastic video footage of the killer whales. Neko Harbor was calm and still and much needed after a couple of bumpy days at sea. And once we stepped on land, we of course were welcomed by the gentoo penguins. These little guys are just adorable. And of course, after being on a ship for a while and getting out of your exercise routine, we had a massive glacier to hike. And we had this beautiful snow slope. We all trekked and made our way up to the very top and had just a breathtakingly stunning view out over the harbor with the Orion off to the side and the penguins down below in the water and the glaciers. And it is so quiet. And the colors, they were just unreal. It was like you were in a living postcard. And after we trekked our way up this snow slope and we're standing on the top of this beautiful glacier, we all were like, you know, we gotta trek back down. And I was forced to sled down this glacier, and I, had some time to think about it and get my head wrapped around it. And I thought, look, I've learned to surf in Mexico. I went ziplining upside down in Costa Rica. I've done all these crazy, exciting things all year. I was not going to lose out to a glacier in Antarctica, although a lot of people did. As any explorer would do, I claimed the harbor as my own with the Exclusive Resorts flag. I also went kayaking around Neko Harbor, and it was just like a scene out of a picture book. There were seals, I even saw a whale, and of course, lots of penguins joined in on the action. The food and the service on the Orion has been top-notch, and on Wednesday night, they outdid themselves with the Arctic Ice Dinner. We walked in, they had beautiful lightings and a lovely shade of blue all across the dining room table with, of course, ice sculptures on the table and right at the entrance of the restaurant. This was the first time this year that the Orion had actually made it over the Antarctic Circle, so the crew was really fired up.
National Geographic Orion just crossed the Antarctic Circle, 66:33.5 minutes south. We're now at 66:34.3 minutes south, past the Antarctic Circle. Right.
Okay, everybody,
Congratulations.
we just passed the Antarctic Circle! Woohoo!
They got everyone off onto the back of the ship, and just as we crossed it, bam! There was an instantaneous brought-in beer party off the back deck. It was a really cool moment. So in the late 1950s, a research station was abandoned at a moment's notice when the researchers found out that ice was coming in around them. So they left their station exactly like it was at that precise moment. Take a look at this video. I think it looks a bit like a scene maybe out of Ghost Hunters. I think this guy in this magazine looks a little bit like Matthew McConaughey. Wouldn't you agree? Did you know that penguins can catch air? I certainly didn't. So we're out in the Zodiac watching penguins, snapping some photos, and the next thing I know, this penguin's comes flying up out of the water, followed by another one. It's crazy. It's like someone cued the penguins and they're like, and action. Ding, 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 ding. These little penguins just popped up out of nowhere. Just their behavior, they clean themselves because they sit in this rookery on these pebble-built nests with their chicks and their eggs. And of course, they mark that area with a circular amount of penguin guano. And of course, it gets on the other penguins. So when you walk up to this rookery, you see all these penguins in their nests, on their chicks, on their eggs with poop all over them. So they take shifts in making their way down to the water to clean themselves off, and scooting across on their belly is part of it. And we caught some really cute penguins doing just that. Sitting at dinner Thursday night, we saw these massive sheets of ice starting to go by. The rope started coming down the side of the ship. We saw a Zodiac come down, and the next thing you know, Mike and Tim are out scouting around the ship and land up on top of the ice and start walking across the ice. So this sets the stage for the Orion crushing its way through the ice to find a place to park in the fast ice. We tried 3 times, and luckily the third time was the charm. And yes, in fact, they lowered the gangway down and we got to take a walk out on the ice in Antarctica. And what happened afterwards was, it's like something out of a dream. We took a group photo, and within a split second, this group of about 100 exclusive resorts members turned into 100 grade school kids, and a snowball fight ensued. People started building snowmen and little penguins, and of course made a little snow angel, and then it just started snowing like crazy, which I've been told is a sign of good luck and fresh new beginnings. I'll take that any day. I started hearing stories about a polar plunge, and I immediately said to myself, I'm not doing that. I am not jumping in the water in Antarctica. That's crazy. So as the trip went on, the peer pressure mounted, I finally decided to do it. Here's the video. It's so cold, but so invigorating, and I am so glad that I did it. Had that moment here in Antarctica with a ship full of fun travelers. Our last stop on this journey back to South America was at Port Lockroy. This was our first opportunity to really do some shopping and also the opportunity to drop off postcards to everyone back home. Talk about getting you out of your box. You know, I've seen my share of penguins and seals and whales in captivity, but nothing beats seeing them in their own natural habitat. This trip to Antarctica is one I'll remember for the rest of my life.